I like this one. What about play? I noticed you love to play with words, not just with words. Where does one play? Where does play fit into a spiritual lifestyle? I think play is a very advanced spiritual spiritual practice, actually. A very advanced one. Many people who are first starting a spiritual life need to work harder and play less. They've been playing around their whole lives, you see, goofing around, playing in life instead of getting serious about life. And taking it by the horns and really disciplining themselves and working hard to create a different kind of life. So that, I think, is very, very important at the beginning. Stop playing around so much. But after you've worked hard for a while and your life starts to improve, and it will. Karma is for real. Karma works. And the only way that I ever really believed that was to see it. To see it. And I encourage my students, my advanced students especially, to pay attention. Every once in a while, just stop and remember what your life was like 5-10 years ago. And pay attention to how things have changed. Things change so sort of incrementally, gradually, that we don't even notice it. And then you have to stop and say, oh my God, 10 years ago my life was a mess. I was unhappy, everything was going wrong, I was in debt, this and that. And now look, now it's all completely different. Things can change rather quickly, actually. Within 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, your life can be completely different. Really completely different. You couldn't even imagine it. See, 10 years ago, I could not begin to imagine my life now. Not begin. See, things can improve in ways that you couldn't even predict. You see? So it does work. It really does work, but you got to try it to see for yourself, because otherwise it's just theoretical. And when it's at that level, there's plenty of doubt. There's always doubt, right? Oh, I don't know. So you just got to try. You've got to take a little leap of faith and say, I don't know for sure that it works, but I might as well try it because the other stuff hasn't worked. I might as well try this karma thing because the other way of living didn't really work. So what do you got to lose, actually? And if you're desperate enough, it really helps to have a good, strong, healthy sense of desperation, of just going I don't know what will work. I don't know how to live life. So I might as well try this other way and give it a go. Give it a serious shot for about 6 months and see if your life doesn't improve. And if it doesn't improve after 6 months, well then try something else, I guess. Don't waste time. But try something that you think might work. And then give it a go. So at a certain level, when your life starts to improve such that you don't have to be working so hard all the time at making it improve, then play becomes a very, very important part of your practice, I'd say. Relax. Relax already. Don't stress out. So there's kind of healthy stress and bad stress, I'd say. There's a certain kind of good stress where it's okay, I should, this kind of furrowed brow thing of I got to get serious. Enough of playing around like a child, with my life. I got to start to get serious about putting the real causes into play for a happy life. So I think there's a place for that kind of stress, for that kind of good stress. Okay, but as your life improves, the more important it is to Botox and to stop stressing so much. And that occurs when the new way of life becomes more habitual, you see. When the habits have reformed so that you can trust yourself a little bit more. So you don't have to be constantly monitoring and making sure that you're on the right path and that you're doing and saying and thinking the right things. When it becomes more habitual, when it becomes more automatic, then you start to have to let go and start playing. In Sanskrit, the word is lila. Maybe you've heard it. It's a theological term in certain of the theistic traditions of Hinduism. It was devised to explain a problem a problem in theism. Theism is belief in a deity, especially a creator God. And the problem is this. Why did God create? If God created the universe, why did God create? Why did God act? Why did God do anything? Was God lonely? What kind of God is that if God's lonely? You know, if you got a God who's lonely, maybe you should get a better God who's like, you know, okay by being with himself or herself, you see. Was God in need of anything? I need to have, you know, creatures, I need to have creation. Did God need anything? If you got a needy God, again, maybe you should trade it in on a better model, you see. So God doesn't need anything. God wasn't lonely. God didn't have to, wasn't like forced to, you know, create. God was playing. God created for the same reason that children swing. If you go to, you know, to a child on a swing, who's going on a swing, you say, "Why are you swinging? Why are you swinging, kids? Why are you playing on those things?" So, what? You know, and they'll look at you like, "Who's this crazy person who's asking all these stupid questions?" I'm swinging because it's fun. I'm swinging because it's play. There's no reason for play. There's no purpose for play. God had no reason or purpose for creating the universe according to this understanding. This Leela sort of concept. It's just play. It's just all play. And in your more advanced sort of stages of your spiritual practice, your life should be more and more play. Not so purposeful. Not always like, you know, a means to an end, but an end in and of itself. See? There's no purpose for play in the sense of there's no reason for doing it in order to get something else. It's play. Play is action for its own sake. Those of you who maybe studied the Bhagavad Gita a little bit, this is karma yoga. That's what karma yoga means in the Bhagavad Gita. It means actions done without an eye to the fruits of action. Action done for its own sake, not for something else. And that's the way to really live, you see. That's real life, you see. That's what we're shooting for, is to get to the point where we can trust ourselves enough, because we have worked, and not just played, you see. Because we have worked and stressed a little bit, to get to the point where we can trust ourselves and then to relax, and to go through life as if it were play. In the same kind of way. You know, if you don't like the word play, how about dance? What's the reason to dance? What's the purpose of dancing? See, what do you get out of dancing? You just dance, right? It's for its own sake, right? Isadora Duncan, you know, the great ballerina, once said, like, if I could tell you why I danced, I wouldn't have to dance. If I could tell you why, what the purpose is, I wouldn't have to dance. Dance is its own purpose. Dance is its own purpose. And life as a whole should be like that. Right? Life as a whole should be just a dance. Should just be play. But you've got to get yourself to the point where your play isn't destructive to yourself and others, you see. You've got to learn how to play good on the playground, nicely. How to play nice on the playground. And share your toys and stuff like that, you see. And that requires discipline and work. Yeah? Okay. So, you know, the spiritual life is complex in a way. It requires a lot of flexibility of the mind. Not this like hard, you know, black and white sort of thing that we often do. It's not. There's no absolute rights and wrongs or good and bads like that. There are different times when there are different things that are important to do. It's like a ladder. It's like going up a ladder. And once you're at the higher rungs, the lower rungs are no longer relevant for you anymore, right? But you can't get to the higher rungs unless you got the lower rungs. You can't just jump up to the higher rungs. So of course we all want to live a life that's free. You know, that's another way of talking about play, isn't it? It's free. You're just being free. You're just doing what you want. And we all want to. That is the goal. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. But the way to freedom is through discipline. The way to freedom is through restriction. You can't go off-road unless you've been on the road. You can't go outside the lines unless you know where the lines are. Color outside the lines unless you know where the lines are. And a lot of people are coloring outside the lines, but there are no lines. They're off-road, but there's no road. You see, that's that's the play without discipline. That's the, life as a child without having gone through the adult stage. The adult stage is the work and the, and then we can get into the second childhood in the best sense of the word, okay? Not like some, naive thing or simple thing, but the simplicity that comes from complexity. The simplicity that is on the other side of the tunnel of complexity. Wisdom is simple, knowledge is complex. But so we get like all complex and we learn all the rules and we watch our morality and we're get all kind of like work hard to get to the point where we can relax and be simple again without being naive. Right? Simplicity without naivete, without stupidity. Simplicity without stupidity. How's that? And then you can play. Then you can play at life. And that is the goal. So it has a very important, I'd say, very important part in spiritual life.